Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. And welcome to episode 35. Wow, that's a lot of episodes. And I'm calling this one Knitting Tools. You'll see why in a bit. I also have a lot of knitting and a lot of from the mainland. There were a large influx of things this week for some odd reason. It's just the way things worked out. And so let's get started. It's August 4th, it's a Monday, so I'm actually recording on my normal day. I'm on the other side of the living room from last time. The lighting seems to be better over here, so I'm gonna stick with this. So, blow the conch shell. We just finished July because it's now August 4th. And so we have to do a prize drawing. And I have the page up, of course, over here. And there were, I think, 19 posts, which is awesome. So I'm going to put in here 19. And the number generated was number 19. Ha! For a second there I thought it was just telling me my maximum number, but no, it was number 19. So thank you for adding that right at the last minute. And it was Mumbles Knits, and she knit some fantastic socks. And she said she loves neon colors in the summertime. And her favorite colors change, but lately she's been loving bright orange and green. So, fantastic socks. So Mumbles Knits, get in contact with me and I have a prize for you. You'll see it you'll see parts of it in a bit. So that's the end of the July knit along. Thank you all for participating. I love seeing things in your favorite color, and I loved hearing about your favorite colors. That was awesome. And I came up with a theme for August. I'm sorry, it's now in August I'm coming up with this theme, but it's the way I go. We're going to do a back to school theme. So anything that reminds you of back to school, whether it's, a pattern, or you're knitting something for your child that's going back to school, or maybe you're going back to school, or I also would expand it to maybe you're going to, try a new technique. So it's something you're learning. So you're going, maybe you take a craftsy class and you learn a new technique. Or you take a class at your local yarn store and you learn something new. Maybe it's a new knitting style, or maybe it's a new, maybe you're trying socks for the first time, or a sweater for the first time, or knitting lace for the first time. Anything that has to do with learning or back to school. So get creative. If you have a question of whether or not it fits, there is a chatter thread in the Ravelry group, and ask away, and I'd be happy to talk to you about things. So get going on that. And I did come up with a theme for September, so I'll go ahead and tell you that. It's going to be vacation knitting. So whether it's a project that you started on vacation, or maybe it's yarn you bought on vacation, or maybe something just reminds you of a specific vacation that you've taken with your family, or that you want to take, something like that. So, but I thought August was, most people are going back to school. We'll do that theme, and then September will be vacation knitting. So, or vacation, stuff like that. Anyway, moving on. Let's see, on the island, I have a lot of things. Well, actually not that many, now that I think about it. I have a pair of fingerless mitts. I finished one, or kind of finished one, and I'm working on the second one. And these are called the Abra Alba wrist warmers by, I'm going to butcher her name because it's not American, or not, it's European, and I don't really know. Anyway, it's Matilde Skar, And it's out of Cascade 220 Superwash, which is the purple down here, which you're not really going to be able to see. It's purple. It is purple, I swear. And the top is Malabrigo, Rios, and Natural. And as you can see, I have not done the thumb yet. I'm using my locking stitch markers as stitch holders. They work out quite well, actually. So that's that. And they match a hat that I knit a while ago that also has these like scallops along the edge, and then the top is white. So that I'm working on that. And what else do I have on the needles? I have it. My Rivendell socks. The Architect of Rivendell. Where'd they go? They're right here. And they are by Varina Jones, and out of Knit Picks, Stroll, Tonal, and Pearlescent. And they are super cool. They've got a lattice on the toe, and then they've got these columns, and then you split for the gusset. The gusset's on the top of the foot, so you split right there, and the gusset goes out from there on the top of your foot. And then there's some more lattice stuff at the top. So I'm loving how these are turning out. I don't know if you can see the colors on the bottom, but I really love this yarn. I forgot how much I love Knit Pick Stroll. So I think this is perfect yarn and pattern matchup. And those have been in my queue for ever. But this week, Thursday, we're going to Ravelry, which is an outdoor, I guess it's an outdoor music concert area, and you can sit on this gigantic lawn, and they've got big speakers. There is an indoor stage area. It's just covered. It's not really indoor. Those tickets are a little more expensive, but you get to actually be closer to the stage. But we really like going out on the lawn. You can bring a picnic dinner. People have tables. You have wine and candles, and it's really fancy. We don't really get that fancy, but so you bring your lawn chair and you set up. Anyway, where I'm getting at is we're going there on Thursday because the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, this is their summer home, and this is where they perform in the summer, and they are showing Return of the King, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and they are playing the soundtrack live, so we're really excited. We didn't get to go last year. They did Two Towers. We were out of town, so we didn't get to go. And the year before that, I didn't really know a whole lot about Lord of the Rings, so I didn't go. A bunch of other people I knew went, but my husband's really into Lord of the Rings, so he introduced me to it, so now I'm much more up on the up, and so I'm really looking forward to it. Those are the things on the needles right now. I have a lot of things planned to go on the needles very soon, but I did some fast knitting. I got some projects on and off the needles this week. I got one on and off. I got one off, which is, of course, sitting over there. I'll get that eventually. Oops, maybe I should not do this while talking. So, set sail. I finished the Cool Clavicle cover by Megan Williams. And it goes this way. Ta-da! And this is out of Lorna's Laces Shepherd's Sock Multi in Summer Serenity. And this I got last year as part of, I bought it last year from the Loopy U for Camp Loopy. It was one of the team colorways. What is going on over here? So it's just a nice crescent shaped shawl. And it's got it's great for variegated yarn. It's got these cool textured sections, and then it's got these kind of in between things, which take forever. These 2 rows take forever, but they're totally worth it. They do look really cool, but they're just, I wasn't using super pointy needles. Whoa. that armrest was a little lower than I thought it was. I wasn't using super pointy needles, so trying to pull a stitch over wasn't working very well. I ended up using a smaller double point needle that I had, and that worked much better. But ta-da, that's done. It's a little warm and humid in here, so I'm not going to wear it, but I love it. And the pooling, there was a lot of pooling in the middle, and I ended up taking out a section of yarn because I didn't like so much pooling, so that worked. It broke it up. But that's done and blocked, and I'm very happy with it. I had this skein of yarn in my stash, and I didn't know what to do with it. And then Megan was doing a giveaway on Instagram of like the first so many people to post a picture of the yarn they would use to knit the pattern would get it. So I dug my stash out, and I was like, which one would I use? And I chose that one because I didn't have any plans for it. I knew I wanted it to be a shawl, but it's hard to find shawls for variegated yarn, so I was really happy when that showed up. So, ta-da, that's done. I'm going to put that over here so it's not in the way. And that's it. Oh! Hey, Jeremy. Could you get my hat that's over there? Don't. I finished one more thing and I forgot it. Of course, I have all my stuff right here. And I forgot that. So Jeremy's going to hand it to me. I finished my, I'm calling it my stripes and lace hat. Perfect. It's still, I blocked it on a plate, or on a pasta bowl really. The plate was too big, so. So this is the stripey side. So this is Leading Men Fiber Arts Showcase in Spritely Endeavors and Sandcastle. So this is the stripey side. So this is the side I did top down. And then I did some ribbing. And then I flipped it. And I did some more ribbing. And then I did some leafy lace. And then I didn't have enough to finish in green, so I did some stripes at the top. So, ta-da! So it's a little slouchy in the back, but not super slouchy. And this I knit to match my Andrea shawl. And I kind of copied the idea of the, I think it's the Mrs. Jekyll and Little Hyde hat. But I used my own pattern. I think they start here and then do the two sides. Anyway, I took the leaf pattern from the Andrea shawl, so it'll match very well. And then the stripes were just stripes. It's pretty easy. So that's done, and that goes with the matching stripy mitts that I finished a couple weeks ago. And the Andrea shawl that I finished in January. So that's it for finished things, and on the needles, let's see what's next. On the horizon, I have a lot of things planned. I just purchased a bunch of yarn for a number of different reasons, and so I have lots of plans for knitting and lots of plans for new awesome things. So I've got a lot of plans and I haven't really nailed all of them down yet, so I'll talk about those as they come. So from my haul, I've been doing the Chicago yarn crawl over the weekend. It started on Saturday, or some shops started Friday night. And so I got my passport. I went on Saturday. I didn't do anything on Friday. After Jeremy's quartet performed, and I run their sound, so we did that. And then I hit up my first store. And so you get this, if you don't know what the Chicago Yarn Crawl is, I'm about to explain it to you. So you get a passport, Chicago Yarn Crawl, and in it, it has, you can fill it out like a normal passport. I have not filled mine out yet. And then you have, so these are all the participating stores. There's a lot. think there's 28. Something like that. Anyway, and they're broken up into different regions. So like region 1 is the ones like downtown Chicago. And then region, and for each one you've got like a little space. And when you go there, you get a stamp. These stamps are a little more obvious. And when you visit 5 stores, you get an extra raffle entry. So every store you visit, you get to enter a raffle drawing, and you get a free pattern. So region 2 looks like north suburbs. Region 3 is kind of near north suburbs, so that's like where I live and places like that. So I visited a couple there. And then there's region 4, which is kind of the way out there kind of deals. And they have space for notes in the back, which is kind of nice. So this is what happens. So when you visit 5 stores, which I've already done, I cut out my little thing and you drop it off and you get entered into an extra raffle. And then when you visit 10 or 15 stores, it's the same thing. But they've got space for notes in the back, which is really nice. So, you know, if you want to make notes like, oh, I need, you know, this many yards of this weight in this color for this pattern, then you can, that's what I did last year. This year I have it more just in my head of like ideas. So, I've been working on my passport, and the first store I visited was, which one was it? 3 Bags Full, which is north of me. And I got some Inzula Meridian lace weight in the Ravelry colorway, which is this gorgeous silvery gray. Maybe it'll focus. There we go. It's a lace weight. It's a single ply lace weight. And I'm really excited because I only have 1 lace weight yarn, which I actually bought from them last year. So I decided I wanted some more lace weight because I really liked that. So I got some of that, and I got some, I want to try the carbons that everyone's been talking about. So I got a set of size 1 double points because I have lost one of my size 1 double points. So I thought, I'll get some more. And these are nice and long, so that'll be nice. Try those out. And that was Saturday. Yeah, and then Sunday, I'm a morning person, and so I don't sleep in very well, even on the weekends. So I got up and I went to pretty much all the stores in Chicago. And I got some awesome things. I'm not going to show you all of them, just because that would be kind of overwhelming. So I'll spread them out over the next few weeks, because after this week and next weekend, I don't plan on purchasing yarn for a long time. So I'll spread them out. So the first store I went to on Sunday was Nina, which is, it's in Chicago. I forget what part of Chicago. And one of the things I got was the Madeline Tosh Marina Light in Antler and Wellwater. And I plan to use them together. They're a light fingering. They're called a fingering, but they just seem very light fingering. But I plan on using them together in a shawl of some sort. So I thought those colors went really well together. And that was that. I also got some other stuff from that store, but I will show you that later. And so let's see, I went to Nina, I went to Knit One, which is a cute little store. The people there were awesome. I went to Seafood Design Studio, which is a really funky and awesome store too. I went to Sister Art Studio. They carry a lot of, that's where I bought my first skein of sock yarn that I actually knit socks out of. They're always really sweet. I went to Windy Nitty, and I went to Close Knit, which is actually just up the street from me, a couple ways up. And then today during lunch I went to Montoya Fiber Studio, and because they're right down the street from where I work, so that's kind of awesome. I just walked there during lunch. So that Windy Knitty, the pattern that they gave away was this gorgeous shawl, and I have in my lap here under my knitting. Also at Nina I bought 2 patterns because they had some on sale. So I bought a sweater pattern for me and a sweater pattern for my husband. Ta-da! Because they were on sale. I was like, yes please, on sale things. So I bought those, and let's see, this was their free pattern. It's like a triangle, 3-color triangle shawl. Okay, so this is the one I'm talking about. And they have Fleur de Fibre is local here, and they dye things especially for Windy Knitty. And so they designed this shawl for some of their yarn, and so I bought some because it was so pretty. So this is Fleur de Fibre, the Asbury base, which is 100% superwash merino. It's a single ply, I'd call this a light fingering. It's probably similar to the Tosh Merino Light. And the colorway is Police Box, because, you know, I love Doctor Who. I don't think this is going to capture the depth of color, but it's so pretty. It's teals and blues, and why won't you focus? Oh, there we go. So it's teal and blue, and so there's some lighter sections against a darker section. So it's going to be really pretty, and it's got some like grayish blue and almost like purple in it. Anyway, I'm really excited to knit this with this. Ta-da! And this was the store that they pass out a shawl 2 years ago. That was the one I was talking about in the shawl episode, that I didn't know how to read a chart and got sorely confused. Still haven't knit it. I still do plan on knitting it because it's a gorgeous shawl. They usually do really pretty shawls, often out of Fleur de Fibre, because of course they want you to buy it. So this is my first Fleur de Fibre, and I'm really excited. That's what they look at. They are going to, I know Fleur de Fibre is going to be at Stitches Midwest, so if you plan on being at Stitches Midwest, look for them. So hover focus, but whatever. Let's see what else. I'm trying to pick out some cool patterns that I got. Oh, this is the one from today, which I thought was really cool. It's like this, I love the stitch pattern on it. It's kind of similar to the Tilting TARDISes. She said it's really easy. So that I'm excited for. And so those are some of the things I got on the crawl. Oh, this came from Windy Knitty as well. This is 3 Irish Girls bamboo cotton fingering in chameleon. And I just loved the way this felt. And it was, I don't have a lot of summery yarn, not just summer colored, but summer fibers. So it's a lot more green than it's appearing, but it's kind of in that realm of that minty awesomeness that I've been knitting a lot and wanting a lot of lately. So I'm really excited, and I was looking at patterns today, and I think I'm going to knit Magrathea by Martina Baim out of this. I saw someone else knit it out of this base, and I think it's not too highly variegated. It's very kind of tonal, so I think it'll be okay in that. So that was it for yarn crawl purchases that I'm going to show today. I'll show more other days. I did purchase some things from a D-stash, and so these are the things. I got it as like lot, I guess it was. And this was the lot. Let me get it together here and I can just show it all at one time. Ta-da! And it was a very reasonable price. So I was like, yes please. Computer, why do you do this? No cat. Sorry, the cat was about to jump on my computer after the screensaver went up. So I've got knitted wit fingering in frosted cedar, which I'm not sure if it's a self-striping or not. I think it is, which is really exciting. And I got this, which I don't know what it is, but it's beautiful. And I got 2 skeins of this, which I have a lot of in my stash because I'm designing socks out of it. So, and this is one of the colors. And then I got this mini skein of Space Cadet that I didn't know was coming. And it's like blues and greens. It's really pretty. So, I'm really excited about that. And they're going back in the bucket. I've got my bucket over here. It's the bucket I use to hand wash my knits in. But it's dry at the moment, so I just put all my yarn in it so I could bring it out here. I was so good yesterday. I got home from the yarn crawl and I photographed all of my yarn and I put it in my stash in Ravelry and then I put it away. And then I remembered, Lucia, you have to show this on your podcast, and now you've put it all away. So today I just went, I store my yarn actually under my bed because that's where we have space. I have these 3 bins that just fit nicely under the bed. And one of them is all fingering and is now expanded to lace weight, so it's the lightweight things. And then I've got one for like DK and worsted, and then I've got one for, actually it's more like DK and sport. No, it's DK and worsted. There's not a whole lot in there. And then I have one of like other stuff, like bulky and some like acrylic that I don't. So that one's like far under the bed that I can't really get to very quickly. The fingering weight one's the one I can pull out the easiest because it's the one I go to the most. So I pulled out everything from the fingering weight bin to show you. So next week I'll show you worsted and DK. Yes. Oh, and then I have my sweater quantities stored in a suitcase in the closet because you gotta put something in the suitcase because they don't collapse. I really wish suitcases would collapse. Like I have a big rolling duffel bag that collapses, which is much easier to store. But hey, it's a little rolling bag and I can store sweater quantities in it or garment quantities in it. So it works out for me. I think that's it for From the Mainland. And From My Holly. From My Holly was kind of the yarn crawl awesomeness. So I do plan on visiting a few more stores this week. Not sure exactly when or how, but we'll see. And then Stitches Midwest I'm going to be there on Saturday. I know there is a podcaster meetup I know there's one on Friday around noon and there's one on Saturday around noon. I have to work on Friday, so I won't be there, but I will be there on Saturday around noon. So if you're going to be at Stitches Midwest and you want to meet me, you can either find me on the floor somewhere walking around with, like deer in the headlights because there's so much yarn goodness, or you can come find me at the podcaster meetup. It's going to be upstairs in the convention hall. There's a fire pit area. If you go up the escalator, it's pretty obvious where it is. It's kind of near the eating area. There's a restaurant up there. There's some bathrooms up there. I mean, the bathrooms are really kind of oddly cool in Schaumburg at this hotel. I've been to a few other conventions there, so I know the hotel convention center. It's kind of cool. They're kind of futuristic. Anyway. No, they have these like round, they're not windows, but they're like these round frosted things on the door. I feel like I'm going to the bathroom on a boat. Okay, it's way too much information, but whatever. It was an odd thing. It was just an odd bathroom, that's all. Alright. I did all of you. Oh, okay. So now we're going to do flora and fauna, and I'm going to talk about knitting tools. I thought that was appropriate for the back to school theme, because when you go back to school, you have to buy your school supplies. So now I'm going to talk about knitting supplies and knitting tools. So I brought out some of my knitting tools. I've got, as you've seen before, I've got my interchangeable needle case that I got from Pokedej on Etsy. And it's got my double point, some of my double points, and it's got my needle tips, and then my seconds of needle tips, or extras, or whatever. I've got some of my double points. If they're short enough, I'll put them over there. If they're too long, they go this way in the bottom. I may have to get something for them eventually, but for now, they live in here and they're fine. And I've also got like my end caps in here, and pull out all the things. I've got a needle gauge in here. I've got a thing that tells me how to do Kitchener stitch in here, which I never seem to get right the first time. What are you gonna do? So that's one of my knitting tools or knitting supplies that I use. I love my interchangeables. I have the ones from Knitter's Pride, and I mean, that's pretty much all I use. I do have a couple sets of Addie clicks that I also enjoy, but I only have a few tips for those. So I have my Knitter's Pride in the full set, and then I have the Addie clicks as extra tips for sizes that I use a lot. And I don't really want I don't need 2 sets, so that's that. The rest of my knitting tools pretty much live in this bin right here, or my extra ones. I have another needle gauge that I have in here. I have a tin of locking stitch markers. I use these a lot. As you can see, they hold the thumb stitches. I also use them to mark like the top side of a sock, or how many rows I have to do on something. And these are actually, this is a tin of mints that I get from Trader Joe's that I've just washed out the tin and used it. I know people use Altoid tins a lot like this. I like these because they're a little smaller, so I use those a lot. I also have another tin here, and it's got some extra pieces of yarn. It's got what are these called? Tapestry needles, yarn needles, and my favorite tool of all is a needle threader. If you've never seen these, you should get one. They were super cheap on eBay or something, so they're just really thin, and these don't break as easily as the other needle threaders I've seen, and they have a hole big enough for yarn. So you stick it through the needle. Let me find a piece of yarn here, it's not being stuck. And then you stick the yarn. Oh, cat invasion. Move, move, move. Keep going. Keep going. Come on. Where are you going? Okay. So then you stick the yarn through the loop. Kind of see that there? And then you just pull this through, and ta-da! So much easier, because if you notice, the holes on these needles are tiny. And I would never use them if I didn't have those things. So these are great. Shove all the things back in there. I also have this, which came with this. You notice they match. I often use a sock bag. It's just a makeup bag that I got for free from buying something. Anyway, I keep some like point protectors in here and another needle gauge and some other random things. What else do I have in here? Some tape measures, because those are always useful. I've got all the buttons I got from my grandmother. I've got some sticky notes. Got some stitch markers here. And I've got this tin that I got as part of my Doctor Who swap that I have not populated with items yet, but I do plan on it. So those are some of my knitting tools. I can also show you, I think I've shown you these before, the needle nooks that I keep in all my bags. I get them from Slip Stitch Studios. Ta-da! And they can hold your needles in here so they keep things from sliding off. But also, they have a notions pouch in them. So what I keep in all of my bags is one of these, and I have a crochet hook appropriate to the size of the yarn that I might be using in that project. I keep, sometimes, I have a double point. This is an extra one. I keep a pair of foldable scissors. If you've not seen these are brilliant. Ta-da! And you can take them on the plane. And I keep like 4 or 5 of the locking stitch markers in here. And then this project has a lot of them. And then I also keep some regular stitch markers. Often I don't have a ton of stitch markers because I don't use them in every project, but and then I have a needle threader and a needle somewhere. There it is. Ta-da! And then sometimes I'll keep like yarn scraps in here. I often keep a bobby pin because my hair is always in my face. Things like that. So I'll stick like in the back here. I'll keep the yarn scraps, and in the front I usually keep all the tools and stuff. So these things are brilliant. And then often in my bags I have tape measure. That's what they're called. So that's a little bit about my knitting tools or knitting supplies. And I think it's really important to have the right knitting supplies. I noticed that I was knitting a shawl early in my knitting career, and I had some bamboo needles which weren't really getting along with the yarn I was using, and so I went to one of my local yarn stores and I got some. That's when I got one set of the Addy clicks. And once I put it on those, it started flying by. It was just that yarn was super grabby and the needles were not agreeing with it. So having the right tools is really good. I think always having them in your bag, or if you have maybe just 1 or 2 notions pouches that you just move around, that also works. Having scissors is always handy. People are always wanting scissors, and I'm like, oh, I have them. And they're like, you just carry scissors around? I'm like, yes, I carry scissors around. We were in Prague at my cousin's house, and they were trying to thread a needle, and the needle threader they have wasn't working. I was like, I have a needle threader. I was like, you have a needle threader? I was like, yeah, I do. So I ended up giving them that one because I was like, I have another one at home, and they're like, oh my gosh, this thing's so awesome. So, prize winner, number 19, for your name already, I'll have to look it up again, you're going to get a little knitting kit from me. So I'll have one of the awesome needle threaders. I'll probably stick a needle in there. I've got some other really random things, so you'll get a little notions kit basically, with a lot of the things that I keep in my notions kit that I think everyone should have, so that when you go back to school, whatever knitting school you're going to, and it's always good to have those things on you. I think that's really important. And I think that's it, unless if you guys have any questions about knitting tools, or things I showed, or other questions about knitting tools, I would be happy to answer them. Since this is the back to school month, so I'd love to talk about knitting supplies. So I hope you guys have a great week. Sorry this is a little longer of an episode. I do have some more things to show, but I think I'll hold off and wait till next time. This is the first time I tried to knit on air. It's actually not too bad, except for that I'm trying to do thumb increases. I really want to finish these mitts tonight. I was hoping to finish them at work today, but I was really busy, and during my lunch I walked down to the yarn store instead of sitting and knitting, so that was okay with me. But I have some things to get ready. I'm going to go to Stitches next weekend, and the weekend after that I will be at Gen Con in Indianapolis. So if anyone is going to Gen Con, I would love to see you all there. I know it's not as much of a destination point for a lot of knitters, but it's really awesome. It's a gaming convention that they hold every year in Indianapolis, and we are going to help out our friend in his booth and have a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about it. And with that, I will bid you goodbye and have a great week, and I'll have lots of more awesome things to show next week. Alright, bye.